Hello, everyone. It's me, Darlene Corbett, the Unstuck expert. Who does get stuck? I hope you're all well. It's pre-Valentine's Day, the day of love. And I thought I'd jump on. I couldn't get it two in this week, but at least I'm getting one. I have a few things I want to discuss, but before I do, I realize I've been uploading my last two podcasts with the video, and some of the sites aren't carrying it. Apple does, and iHeart. But I realized what I have to do is upload the audio version only to play on my podcast, so it gets taken by all of those sites, and then I will bring it to YouTube on my own, as I have on a regular basis. So all of you people listening to me on the podcast, whether it be Apple or Amazon, Deezer, Spotify, Stitcher, I know that's the problem. I actually sent an email to Libsyn, who they're the host of my platform, whatever you refer them to as, but I do believe that's the problem. So any of you who are looking to see me on Apple, or that's where it seems like a lot of the views are coming from, you aren't going to see me anymore because I'm only going to upload my audio, but come to YouTube. In fact, I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will be on here regularly. I'll be doing both video and audio. I am a work in progress and a lifelong learner, and also someone who seeks the truth, a seeker of the truth. And that's going to lead me into what we are going to talk about today. Three things: gentlemen in context, which leads to the Snow Princess, and then finally, unrelated, but well, somewhat related, I guess. I guess we can find some connection, St. Valentine's Day. And I've talked about that briefly in the past. But let us begin with gentlemen in context. You must be wondering, what in the world is she referring to? Well, I'm referring to the United States. I happen to be very much a very pro-American. I'm not going to say the country is flawed. We already know that. All of us have heard this enough, how flawed our country is. Okay. I've said this before. I will say it again. Let's start with the basics. Human beings are flawed, correct? Anything human beings build, as much as they look for perfection, may have a flaw. And that includes countries. Why? Because countries are built by human beings. So period. I do believe the founding fathers were inspired. I believe there was some kind of divine intervention to give us a country where much freedom exists. This has become a powerhouse in less than 300 years of existence. Really, I think 250, less than 300 years of existence. It's amazing. It did what so many other countries couldn't do for centuries. I'm not saying the other countries didn't contribute, but the United States has been a leader. Somebody has to be, don't they? Now, I'm talking about the founding fathers for two reasons. Over the years, I've heard from friends and acquaintances calling them old white men. I find that derogatory. Since we're talking about derogatory words, I am an old white woman. I would prefer to be called a woman of a certain age or an older adult. So I would refer to these men as older gentlemen. But therein lies the problem. There's three pieces here I want to address. One, they weren't that old. They may have been for the 18th century, but, excuse me, some of them were as young as 30 something. I believe Thomas Jefferson. Ben Franklin was only about 50. John Adams in his 40s. So they were not old. They were middle aged. Now, you might say they were old for that time period, but I think Ben Franklin lived until 80. Not so bad. I forget Jefferson and Adams, but I think they lived to a robust age, especially for that time, but even for now. But I tell you this because we are taught so many falsehoods. These men, I just looked it up because maybe they were older. They have those white wigs, which was a very traditional appearance during that period. And I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, anyone feel free to email me or send me a note, the Brits still use those white wigs in the courtroom. I think Parliament maybe, and maybe not Parliament, but in the courtroom. I do believe that's the case. It's a tradition. So back then, I don't know if it was a tradition because it signified a nobility of some sort, although they weren't noble men in the United States, but they were men of wealth. But I'm going to get to that in a minute. Context matters. People are judging these men as if they lived in the 20th to 21st century. They did not. Any one of us living back then may have operated very differently than we do now. So I want to remind people, all of you judgmental people, oh, those framers, those old white men, they were not old, and that you are taking them out of context. Now, I talk about Sigmund Freud. I don't subscribe to some of his analytical beliefs, but I do believe what makes Sigmund Freud important to me, he certainly gave a foundation of therapy, but he also believed in the curative aspects of the therapeutic relationship, which I subscribe to strongly. A corrective experience doesn't mean I follow him, but a corrective experience. But I also don't give him a pass, but he's also judged within as if he was here now. Contextually, you have to look back where he was in the Victorian era. I can't remember exactly, but it was late 18th century. He did some very unhealthy things, such as ignoring sexual abuse. I don't give him a pass for that. But I understand he did this within the confines of the elite Austrian society. Again, I'm not giving him a pass. He came up with this, Oedipal complex that women wanted to marry their fathers, whatever. Because Oedipus, based on the Greek tragedies of Oedipus and Antigone. I'm going back to my history lessons of long ago, but context. We have to look at the context of where people come from. So that's the second thing about the founding fathers. One, they were not old. Two, we are judging them as if they are born in the 20th and 21st century. They are not. Finally, people say, oh, they're a bunch of rich men. They were wealthy. And let me tell you something, and you can go read Napoleon Hill. I don't think they all were, but I think Franklin was, Jefferson was, Hamilton may have been, I don't know. But they were very comfortable under British rule. The Brits didn't bother them, and they didn't bother the Brits, and they would have been just fine compared to the rest of the Americans, the colonists of the time. They didn't have to do a thing. They could have just stayed in comfort. They risked their lives and their livelihood. If the Brits had won the Revolutionary War, you think they would have survived? They would have been executed, I have no doubt, as traitors to the British, to King George. I forget what number he was, but so please, you don't have to like any of this, but remind yourself when you're judging history, you have to look back at where it's placed in time. Now, why do I talk about this? Well, again, there's a lot of anger at the American way of life. People feel a lot of things, and I feel that they have not been taught history. I wasn't even taught proper history. If you want to know the truth, I learned much more than some of the young people do now. And I'm telling you this, boomers and Gen Xers, teach your children the truth. I'm a seeker of the truth. I used to think a lot in one area of my life, and I don't think so much anymore because I sought the truth. I read a lot, and I still read a lot. And that's reminding me about the United States. I haven't read enough about the Constitution myself since back in high school, college, the Bill of Rights, the Federalist Papers, but they are all there, and I want to get to them. I've read enough people that know them well, that explain them in facts, in the written word, looking at them, quoting them, not just an opinion, that's helped me understand better. So I want to move to a popular figure right now, that was born and raised in the United States, had all the privileges of being here. And she has decided to, well, we don't know, live in another country or at least be a part of another country. She certainly gave up her Olympic position in the United States. She would have, I'm sure, achieved it. She may have. And she chose to go with China. Okay. That's the beauty of living in the United States. All you people that think it's so bad, you can do whatever you want. You want to go to another country? No stopping you. You want to come back? You have that citizenship, fine. And that's the question. Now, there's been a lot of controversy about Eileen Gu. Eileen Gu is spectacular. There's no other word for her. And let me define what I mean by that. That's the umbrella statement. We could say spectacular, majestic, however you want to phrase it. She is an amazing young woman. She's beautiful, stunning. I mean, she's just beautiful. I saw her on YouTube. I'm not watching the Olympics for, well, reasons a lot of other Americans aren't watching the Olympics. I haven't really paid much attention. I used to like it when it was every 4 years anyway. It was very special. I think it was winter and summer. And now it's, I don't know, every 2 years, whatever. Oh, it was last summer. I don't know. But anyway, there's other reasons too. I've watched, and I really I love both the summer and the winter. I used to love watching the skating, the dance, the ice skaters, the ice dancers. It was just fabulous. And the same thing, I'm not a big skier, but with the freestyle, it's very cool. So, but I wanted to see what the big to-do was about Miss Gu because I had no idea. And let me tell you, she is, again, spectacular. She is stunning to look at. She is just beautiful. She's brilliant. I just read that she had 1580s on her SATs. She's creative. She is vivacious, it seems, engaging, poised, confident. She also is an extremely gifted athlete. Her athletic prowess, and she's fearless. She's fearless. You have to be to do what she did on the ski slopes. I saw all 3 runs, just spectacular. She has it all. Yeah, I've gone back and forth on this until I just read, and I'm going to read to you what I read in the Wall Street Journal, what she said. Some people will not give her a pass because she won't acknowledge whether or not she is a citizen of the United States still, or is she only a citizen of China? According to everything I read, China does not allow dual citizenship. Did she have to give up her citizenship? Or did she get a special pass? We don't know. She refuses to talk about that. She's getting lots and lots of endorsements by the Chinese. I mean, she's probably going to be a multimillionaire before she's 20. Good for her. But this is the thing. There's 2 issues I have with Miss Gu, and one of them, I'm going to give her a little bit of a pass for youth. She's 18 or 19. She was raised by a mother that's very, very strong, and they called her a tiger mom. I don't know. My mother was a bit of a tiger mom, but my husband pointed this out, and I thank him. She may have chosen to go with China because her mother may have, well, they said her mother did encourage her and influence her. To my knowledge, Chinese children have great reverence for their parents. They listen to them for better or for worse, but in many ways, respect, honor, those are wonderful attributes. I have no idea what her relationship is with her mother, but she's still an American. She may be Chinese by heritage, but she is an American woman. So if she has decided to go with giving up her citizenship, that is a very foolish decision if her mother encouraged her, and I'll get to why. But I want to give the information about her arrogance because I did not appreciate her saying this. And I'm an educated woman, so bear with me. And I say that, believe me, I'm in Massachusetts, and a lot of people in Massachusetts are educated. So, but she was 2 things. One, she did not have to talk to reporters. Nobody put a gun to her head. She could say, I really prefer not to discuss this, but she didn't. She wants to talk to them. Okay, fine. She's going to get peppered with questions. Not enough, though. So on Tuesday, this is in Wall Street Journal, Wednesdays. I'll show it to you just in case. On Tuesday, Gu positioned herself as a unifier of cultures, evading questions about her citizenship status or responding as though they were critiques of her on her mission. So she said this, and now people are crying racism. This, I'm sure there are a few, but most people are not racists that are questioning her. This is about, did you give up your citizenship in the US or did you not? Yes or no? And she won't answer. All right. This is her answer to what I just said. If other people don't really believe that that's where I'm coming from, her being a unifier, then that just reflects that they do not have the empathy to empathize with a good heart. Close quote. Okay, she used empathy twice. That's fine. She's nervous. Again, she's very poised, very vivacious. That's fine. Whatever. But this is the arrogance. I'm not going to waste my time trying to placate people who are, one, uneducated. Really? Really? That's me. And two, probably are never going to experience the kind of joy and gratitude and just love that I have the great fortune to experience on a daily basis. I find that extremely either naive or arrogant or both. First of all, she's very privileged. She will be. She has no right to assume people are uneducated, challenging her, and it's a way to deflect. So this is my thought about Miss Gu. I don't have the same feelings of some, either the people gushing, or the people harshly criticizing. I do have a problem with that statement. This is my hope for Miss Gu, that she did not give up her American citizenship. Maybe China gave her a pass. That she is representing a country that things are not so well, and I'll just leave it at that. And she must be aware of that. And if she's not, well, obviously she's been very shielded. But also, she's not going to have the liberty that she has in the US. Many countries she would, not that country. And if Miss Gu decides that China, she doesn't want to be a part of China, well, she has made a Faustian bargain. And anyone that hasn't read Faust, I believe I read it in high school, I would suggest you do. And if you don't, I believe Mephistopheles was the devil, but I can't remember. But Faust was promised by the devil. I think he promised the devil he would give him his soul or his forever if he could have all the earthly comforts. The devil said, okie dokie. Faust had the time of his life, all the pleasures, carnal pleasures, maybe wealth, I can't remember. But then guess who said, time to pay up? The devil. She's making a Faustian bargain if she gave up her US citizenship, because again, the United States would protect her. She's a citizen. Nobody would touch her. And maybe that will be the case. She'll have achieved enough wealth and power for that to happen. I don't know. But I'll tell you, I've read enough about some people in China. One of them is Jack Ma for Alibaba. He suffered. Another one was an actress. I've written about her. I wrote a fictional story that she all of a sudden didn't show up somewhere. So wealth and stardom, let me digress, go back to her. I don't recall the woman's name, but she was considered the Reese Witherspoon of Asia and had millions of followers. And all of a sudden, she went under for critiquing or having somebody on the set that critiqued the government. So hopefully Miss Gu is allowed to have both citizenship if she's I think she is a Chinese citizen now. And hopefully they made an exception for her to retain her American citizenship, because if not, and she does not like what's going on, or she has a fall from grace, figuratively and literally, or gets injured, or does something to harm in their eyes or to criticize the government. Well, if she wants to leave and she gave up the American citizenship, Miss Gu, they'll say, no, can't do. And if she says, boo-hoo, they're going to say, boo, you know what, who? It's evident with all these other very wealthy, famous people. So I hope for her sake, I wish her well. She's extremely enchanting if you just see her, just looking at her presence and her poise. Again, I hope that was a mishap, that arrogant statement, and she learns through her years of development and her adulthood not to make those kinds of statements again. A lot of educated people are asking the same questions. And even if you are uneducated, just because you're uneducated does not mean you don't have wisdom. And I'm going to say this over and over. Some of the wisest people I have met in my life are not formally educated. They became educated. Some of them are quite self-made, millionaires and billionaires. But others, maybe not financially, but their wisdom is rich, rich. Their successes cannot be measured. So she needs to, come down a few steps, come down to earth, and hopefully she will, and be thankful for all of her gifts, because they are gifts. And I don't want to in any way say she's not hard working. She deserves it. Besides having all those gifts, she worked hard. It sounds like there's no doubt. Her mother raised her well with a strong work ethic. So well earned. But remember, Miss Gu, as they call you, the snow princess, in many areas of the world, snow eventually melts. So watch out. On that note, I'm going to continue on to Valentine's Day. Yay! The day of love. And not just romantic love, all kinds of love. Love is just, it's healing. Love is corrective. Love is so vibrant. It is the greatest virtue of all. I know that some of the great ones, far great, I'm not great, but some of the great ones would disagree, but love. So love for all. I wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day. I want to remind you all, if you didn't know, there's an article I wrote last year about St. Valentine. He was an amazing man, even if it's legendary. So it's a nice legend that the Roman Empire would not allow soldiers to marry because they felt they were distracted. And I believe it might have been a financial issue also. I can't remember, but so they were not allowed. It was against the law. They were forbidden. But St. Valentine went against that decree. He married couples that so wanted to be married. The institution of marriage is an amazing institution. It's gotten a lot of bad rap. I'll talk about that another time. But he married them. And he lost his life because of it. So I wrote a story on Biz Catalyst. You can go look for it. I forget the title. It's February of 2021. It's a fiction. I made a story because it's such a delightful legend to me. I hope it's true. He was executed. There's another piece to the legend that he was in prison for doing that. And some woman fell in love with him and went to visit him. And I think he said, "Be my Valentine." So that's where you get my Valentine. Who knows exactly? That's back again, context way back then, but it's just a real treat to think about that someone would risk their life in the name of love. And many people do, actually. But he is someone that I'm glad that the Catholic Church honored him as St. Valentine. And the rest of us, I'm Catholic, so I can say you, but all of us, we can honor him for what he did to make this beautiful, romantic holiday where so many people get married. Well, they're not so sure married on because it's winter, at least in New England, but engaged. How about that? By the way, I say some things I repeat. I repeat the word amazing a lot. You would think my vernacular is this small. It really isn't, but what can I say? I also say, how about that? I can also say, what can I say? All right, everyone. I'm glad I got this in. So this will hopefully, I'm going to upload the audio, but anyone that is looking at me on Apple, you won't be able to see me there. You'll have to go to YouTube. And you know what? I'd love you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'd also love you to consider my book, Stop Depriving the World of You. And, listen to me on the podcast. Also, I have a major writing endeavor that I'm finishing up and needs a lot of editing, but I will keep you informed. It's a lot of fun. It's scary, but it's exhilarating. Push, push, push. That's my motto. Keep pushing myself. All right. Enjoy. I'm going to play my music again because, of course, it's shut off. So now I have to put my glasses on because I can't see without them. And I love my music, so I'm going to play it again. I hope you can hear it. I don't have a producer, but I hope you can hear it. All right, everybody.